Hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another guide video for Foundry. So I'm skipping a little ahead than where I'm at on the quick start guide, and I figured we're gonna visit something a little later in the thing. And I'm gonna be building it right here on my main map. And you're like, well, you're looking just a bunch of woods. Well, yes, because we're going to work on this. We're going to build a max output setup for the blast furnace. Right now this is the temporary artwork, so later on, as of this recording, this is what's available. I'm sure later on from here out there might be something different, but we're gonna set up the air intakes, the hot stoves, and then the furnace. And we're gonna make a full stack. As well as that, we're going to make the fully completed buildings and some things to take note of. So get ready and we will get to this. So now our first thing is we're going to need a big open area. As you can see, I have a big open field. As soon as I'm not sure on the total size, but as soon as I figure it out, I'll get you up on the screen. So we got a big open area because all these buildings require foundation on every single part of it. So we are going to use this. Now, as you can see, I've already got some things readied up here for supplies, so I can get right into it and show you even some of the basic production afterwards. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to need six total, but 3 different items. Go to inventory. We're going to need 2 air base intakes. We're going to need 3 hot air stoves bases and 1 blast furnace base. Again, as of the recording, this is the art available. It'll probably change later, but and you want yourself a selection of these large pipelines. They're 3x3, and all of it can be crafted here. The pipelines are crafted underneath the structures. Everything else is actually constructed under this, the buildings tab. So when you see, you need 600 concrete. You need all these list of materials for this, which is 600 concrete, 600 steel beams, 300 advanced machine parts, 200 circuit boards, and that's just for the blast furnace. Air intakes. So you'll be needing a lot of concrete, and this is just to make the bases. However, you can mass produce the other set of items. You can craft what's called the modules, the air intake modules, the hot air stove modules, and the blast furnace modules can all be crafted inside the assemblers. And they take their own extensive set of items to create. You're going to need a lot of concrete for these recipes, so you'll need to get that taken care of. Once you have your concrete rolling in, this will come in, and they take in high quantities and don't give out at the fastest, but get them stocked up, you'll have more than enough, and we'll get started on it. So as a side note, the assembler can create the bases. I don't think it's necessary personally, because you're only making 1 of them. 3 of these and 2 of those for each setup. So if you're going to be doing larger setups, then fine, you can mass produce them, but the modules are the ones that really need to be mass produced. Okay, now we're going to start building the facilities. Now we're going to start with the base of the blast furnace. Now I took a measurement so that it'll be same as my other side, but mirrored, hopefully. We're going to build the Ferrite one for my facility here. Now, there is only one way to align this facility. There is a structure at the top that does have a specific direction. And the only way to align this the structure is to use the stairway that's right there. So whatever side that stairway is facing on, the structure that's at the top will be pointing in that same direction. So it will be facing towards the wall of my facility right now. So we're going to place that there. Now we're going to come back here to the hot air stoves. Now I have the placement I want to put them. This isn't really specific placement. You can put them however you want. You just got to be able to hook them up with those with large pipes. Now, this thing has two sizes for the structure. You have a fat end and a smaller end. You want the fat end, or the fat end would make it easier if you have it pointing towards your blast furnace. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll show you why here in a moment. Now I'm going to place that down, and I'm going to go ahead and place the other two down, and I'm going to put 2 spots in between. You don't have to do it this way. This is the way I'm choosing to do it, and I'll show you why I'm going to do that in a later part of the video. Now, so we're going to put down all 3. All 3 have been placed. Now, for the last component, we need the bases for the air intakes. Now, I'm just going to place them about somewhat in the middle, behind 8 blocks. So, you know, we got about right here. So, it's about 5 wide. So, I'd say about right here. Is that good? Did I line that up right? Yes, I did. I did. One over. There we go. 2, 2. Okay, they're even up. Alright, now, for the next part, we have all the modules. Modules are these parts right here. You got the air intake module, blast furnace modules, and the hot stove modules. Since we're already here, we're going to take care of these guys first. These do have an orientation, but it really doesn't matter too much. All the sides are going to get covered. Now, to use the modules, you either set them, or however, you'll notice you hit the right mouse button, and it'll bring up this wheel. And it will give you a number based on how many modules that this add-on will cost. Well, we're going to need at least 1 utility panel. So we're going to throw that there, and we will throw that there. Now for the rest of it, we will grab the tower block, which takes 20, and we'll add our tower. And then we'll come down finally to the vent, and we will just, wherever there's a spot, put a vent there. Now, if you're making a smaller blast furnace facility, this may vary how much air you need and such, so you may want to vary how many vents you take. But that is pretty much just straight just of doing that. Just get them built up, throw all the vents on, you're good to go. Now, hot air stoves. Again, same scenario. We have modules. I went ahead, I got them on 4, and you will be given the right mouse button, wheel, right mouse button to bring up the wheel, and we're going to start with the towers. And they take 6 floors, basically. Now, if you get close enough, they'll just do this, and you can actually just spam the button all the way up until it runs out. Alright, so I'm building full towers. Different sizes mean different values, but we're going full for this build, so. Now, the last part you need to complete the structure is the top. And you just keep close, and I'll automatically build it up there. You're good to go. Now, for the other pieces, now we have a high voltage. As you can see, there's only one place to really put it. Right here above the panel. And then you just, whoops. So you just click, select it with the wheel, and then just place them down. Now, next step, we need an input. Thankfully, due to how much those pipes can carry, you only really need one input for each hot air stove. We will get to the math in a moment, but that's all you need right there. We're going to put them close down, easy reach with those things. Then finally, we need the outputs. Again, just put them down low. They stay close. And that's that. The only thing left is the conveyor attachment. And for all intents and purposes, I haven't found a use for this yet. I'm pretty sure this is going to be used for later recipes and such. So I wouldn't worry about it too much right now. Now for the last structure, we're going to build our blast furnace base. Now, in my case, I got that on number 2, so we're going to set this. Now it kind of builds like a puzzle, and the funny thing is if you start here and work your way around, you'll get everything you need. So we're going to start with the hot air blast. Takes 20, put it there. And then we're going to go to the tower, and like I said, I'm making full-size structure here, so there we can put up to 5. There we go. Then we go to the hopper bottom. So we'll just place that down real quick. Then we want the hopper top. And then finally the flare stack. This completes the structure. Now if you notice, there's a platform right there. That platform is the one I was referring to with the orientation that was on the bottom floor with the base. It sticks out here. It's a great place. You look there, depending on how you build it, you can actually, might be able to hook up the elevator up there and go straight down to any lower structures. With that right there, that completes the main structure. Now we have the optional parts. What the optional parts are. Our pieces, like, so I go in here, you now have, so that was the flare stack. Then we have conveyor attachment, pipeline attachment, and a pipeline attachment output. Input, output, and the conveyor input. We're going to take care of the conveyor input since we're up here. So we're going to grab this. And they have 4 points, one on each side of here. You'll see there's that one, whoops, got that one there. You can see there's the green out shader for it up there, and the final one right there. For my build here, we're putting it on this side, so this right there. Now, since we're already down here, we're going to go to pipeline attachment input. This is for the air coming from these stoves. We have 2 options. Now, since this isn't exactly aligned with that one, I'm actually going to take this one off to the side, and that will feed my hot air input. Get more to that in a moment. And we have our pipeline outputs, which I'm going to put both of those right here for my build. Okay, so now that we have our pipeline attachment set up, now we need to get the piping and the power taken care of. Now the piping for this part are these big pipes that hook up. They have a capacity of 3.6 million a minute. So I'll show you the math later. We're not even touching that. Not even coming close. So we're just going to grab we're going to put an output on each of these, or one piece on each of these, I should say. And this should be the normal straight setup. That should be default. If it's not this, Now, if you want to change the shape, you hold your right mouse button and you'll come with it. It's just like the pipes, the regular single 1x1 pipes. In this case, we're going to want some T's. So I'm going to take this and rotate using T, R, and H. There we go. Got that one. Now for here on the end, I'm actually just going to use a corner. Another corner. Oh, that one's not. I guess I didn't put the extra on there. Now I'll grab the corner. Then we're going to come back to the straight ones. Bring it down, and we'll just drag it all the way across. And we now have this hooked up. Now we have these guys we gotta hook up. There's definitely a few ways you can do this. Since these are on a different level, fortunately the blast furnace outputs are on the same level as the blast furnace, or the hot stove outputs are on the same level as the blast furnace input, so you're pretty good there. Now, I chose to put this on the bottom because it gives me access to the panel, but this panel is where the air goes out. So you have various ways you can do. You could actually raise this up, put this on the upper area, to where you can get them to match up. I just put them on the floor because, you know, I didn't really see a huge need to really do anything different. So I'm just going to start here off. We're going to go ahead and make these put these right on here. Now these structures have walkways on them. I suggest using them to your advantage. And the regular walkways do connect to these walkways as well. So you can grab the walkway that's right here, as long as you're outside of the reserved voxel space. So you can do like that. And build yourself a little scaffolding bridge for the build as you need to. But they will connect, just like right here. It'll connect as well. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and get the rest of these all hooked up. We're gonna grab, we'll put that one there, since that's on the end. We'll put this one here. That one's on the end. Is that right? Yes, that is right. Okay, so I'm going to readjust these real quick. And we're going to add a cross pipe here. Or no, a T-pipe. Now, the reason why I space these apart is so I could do this. Make these little walkway structures in between the buildings because they can connect, like I said earlier. Okay, took a minute and hooked up these piping. Now, we're going to work on the power. As you see, can't do nothing, no grid connection. Now, these require high voltage power. So we need to take that in consideration. Now, as you can see, I have high voltage right here. We're going to feed that through. Now, there's something I actually want to do before I actually do that. Let me see if I can get this just right. And as you see, I have holes here already kind of for it. So I have a character elevator. And we are just going to put it right here. That's going to be 1. At station, we're going to have 2. I think it's like 145, isn't another 1. At station 3, 4, 153, and 171. Confirm. And we're going to let that do its thing. I'll correct them later. I know it's completely wrong. Next thing to do is now to get this all powered up. Something you need to take into account when you are building this is to make sure these don't get in the way of your power poles. And you will need a few of them, so I'd say keep a space out if possible. Okay, they're all hooked up. I even hooked up the power lines to the air intakes, which I've been taken care of. We now have it piped. We have our power lines all taken care of. Now, the next stage we need is to actually get stuff activated. So we need filters set. So all the air intakes, set them to air. Then come up on your hot stoves. And each of these inputs, which are down the floor, which on these outputs, you'll just put air for the input there. And then on the back side, you're going to put hot air, because that's what they'll be outputting. Now for the blast furnace, you want to go upstairs, so you'll need to go up the ladder, or whatever method of transportation you have. You'll come over to this thing, and you will set the filter to hot air. Now I'm going to set the rest of the filters, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got all the filters set, and then now for the next part, to start the system, you just hit start. It says does 162,000 liters a minute, and it drains power from your high voltage network. Now before you start though, you'll notice it says tower 01. That's how many you have of that module and how many it's capable of having. So the tower can have 0 to 1, the vent 2 to 7, and the utility panel requires 1. A minimum of 1 and a maximum of 1. We have our 1 panel, we have the others, and now we can just hit start. And there it goes, 162,000. I'll go over the math in a moment, the reason why this is what it is. But now, in here, if you look, tower 6 out of 6. electrical component, 1 to 1. Pipe attachments, 1 to 4. Pipe attachment output, 1 to 4. Top part, 1 of 1. We've got all that. So we're going to get this started now. Let me get the other ones because they as well. Now, it says air. Max input rate of 1,000 or of 108,000 a minute. Output 108,000 a minute. Keep that in mind in a moment. Now, come over to the blast furnace itself. As you can see, you have two things. You have module overview, which is this, and then you have stats overview. Stats overview will give you the information you need to operate the system. This will tell you the information that each module gives and the operation. Now, says required hot air per minute, 324,000. So here's where the math is coming in. So 324,000. That's how much air this needs. Each hot air's max output is 108,000. So 324,000 divided by 3 is 108,000. So it takes 3 of these, 108,000, to make the one to fill the one blast furnace at 324,000. This requires 108, so we come back here. This outputs us 162,000. 162,000 times 2 is 324. So we need 2 of these to fill 3 stoves, and the 3 stoves manage 1 blast furnace at maximum output. This is max builds. Now you see the utilization saying 0. That's because we're not using it at all right now. It's because technically this isn't complete. It hasn't been started and it's not complete. So operating mode. This is your recipe basically. We're gonna go xenoferrite. Now up here it says max input per minute. We need 480 refined ferrite ore, 360 coke ignum, and 240 limestone. Limestone can be directly mined, so that's fine. The coked ignum requires 1 recipe, and the refined ferrite requires another recipe. Let's take a look at those for a second. Alright, we're looking at the Crusher Mark II for its recipe for the refined xenoferrite ore. It takes 2 ore to make 1 refined ore. It does it from 60 minute to 30 minutes. So our production is 30 a minute. We need 480 a minute. We divide that by 30. That gives us 16. So we're going to need 16 of these machines to make enough ferrite for the blast furnace behind us. Boom. 16 crushers, all working on the material that's going to get sent out here. Now these things are outputting at 60 a minute, or at 30 a minute. 30 times 16 is 480 a minute, which means you need a Mark III belt to carry that load, but that's what we're going for 480. And as you can see, I kind of have it splitting here because I was using these as well for the Mark II recipe for ferrite plates, but we're not going to be using that anymore because we have a different production method. So now it's all getting shipped up here, goes up the elevator, so the refined ore comes up this elevator, over to here, and into the conveyor input of this machine, of the blast furnace. Limestone gets created, or can be mined straight from an underground miner, and the coke ignum, it comes from induction smelters. And the recipe for the coked ignum in the induction smelter takes 1 ore and turns it into 3 coked ignum. And you only need 4 to cover the total, because the total is 360 times 90, or divided by 90, I should say, equals 4. So 360 divided by 4 equals 90 a minute, and that's how much those out there. So if we have that taken care of, limestone, you only need 240. It's not a huge amount. And with that, we got those connected. We're going to go ahead and start it up just by clicking start. Let's bring it in. Temperature's coming up. It's getting its hot air. And over time, once it hits 1500 degrees Celsius, it should start creating the content. Okay, so we're here. We're about to hit 1400 degrees Celsius. And now the thing you gotta look out for, it's gonna create two things. It's gonna create a little bit of slag and a whole lot of molten ferrite. And boom, there we go. Now that's starting to work. Okay, so now it needs a place to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to set these filters here. These are our outputs. So we're going to set these filters. One's going to do the molten ferrite, and this is going to do the blast furnace slag. All right. Now I'm going to grab pipes, which I believe I put some in this box over here. Yep. One with some loaders. And did I grab that one tank? Oh, there it is. Grab those. Now, so what we're going to do, I actually want to make one more tank. What we're going to do is we've got actually molten ferrite. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to take the molten ferrite. We're going to bring it up to there. Create a hole in that wall right there. And you go around inside. And I'm going to take this down there and we're going to set something up. So for the time being, I have made a tank right here to catch the molten ferrite and a pipeline that comes from where you saw me at. We're going to leave this right now because we got to deal with the blast furnace slag. It's a little bit more important. I already have a setup to take care of that, and we're just going to feed our leftovers into that. So, alright, so we're back out here. I'm going to take this, feed it up and over, and then we'll go over to the setup where I'll explain what's going to happen with the slag. So, now that we have the slag brought up here, we need chemical processors and oleomic acid to turn it into the waste material into a usable material, which in this case we are going to use the recipe that turns the slag into limestone so it can get set back into the line with the rest of the limestone. And processed. Now we need two of them because it takes in 180 a minute, and that blast furnace puts out 360. 360 divided by 2 is 180. So we just need that much ohmic acid or blast furnace slag, so we need two of them, and 50 ohmic acid a minute. Get sent out, and then we're going to take a distributor here and set the priority to this input. So that way it takes this input to feed the system. Now it probably wouldn't hurt to have a container in here to take in some excess until the system really starts moving, because that's not going to start moving until we get the molten ferrite taken care of. So we're going to work on that next. So we're here. This is the area where I'm going to build at the casting machines to turn all the ferrite into plates, since I already have that thing right there receiving all my plates. So they're just going to come in here, they're going to hook back onto these lines with their outputs, and that should be taken care of. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to grab the casting machines. Actually, hold on. Whoops. Away. And I'm going to throw the casting machines right on here for the time being. So we're going to go to number 6. We're going to face the panel this way, because I need to give room for, and I'm going to go a little clear of the tank right there. So we'll just put it right there. Give it a little room. Now, we're currently making 3,600 liters of molten ferrite. So we're going to come in here under metallurgy, and plates are what we're going to be making. That takes 225 liters a minute. The 225 liters a minute will take the 3,600 divided by the 225, and that gives us 16 machines. As you can see, I got 15 more. I'm going to set them up real quick. Okay, finally got everything set up. 16 casting machines. They're all doing, they will be taking in 200 times. We're putting out 160 a minute, so that means 4 of these are 1 Mark III belt. So I've got 8 of them. They're outputting onto both sides of this belt to keep them balanced. We have the other 8 right here, and they will be outputting onto this set of belts. They're all feeding into here. These has leftovers. I had to rebuild this area, so now we have pure come in, pure split out. This thing will be balancing all my output. Now for the fun part. The only one thing left to do is let it flow. And there it goes. See all the orange coming down. And here they come. The ferrite plates are now getting introduced into my system, and they're just filling in this container. And then this container distributes them out all over. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics. We went through the setup of the machines. Now went through some basic math to describe them. Setup, operation, controls, everything. 100% utilization, 100% utilization. $2,000 Now, here's the thing. One other thing. If you want to change the recipe on this, or anything of that nature, and you need to shut it down, say you want to deconstruct it. If you want to deconstruct any of this, you have to shut them down. It's really a case of just coming up here, shut down, shut down. If, for some reason, you power these down, say, there's a fault in the power, and you try to dismantle this, it will say it needs to be fully shut down before it can be demolished at the top. Which means you have to reconnect the power from that to that to gain access to the screen again. Same goes for this in the same manner. Now you want to shut this down. When you go to click shut down, it has to get rid of all the slag. Since my system's already set up to take it, out it went. You cannot demolish this until the slag has been removed. Now the easiest way you can just get rid of the slag is to add a pipe module, put the tank down, connect the pipe to the tank, and let it drain, and then just demolish the tank. The material will just disappear. But you have to wait till this shuts down before you can demolish the building. So it's got to cool down and all that. And you have to wait for it to shut off before you can even restart it. So now what they do, however, do is they take power from the high voltage grid. These things, so as you can see, 6 of them, that's 15 megawatts for each system. For the hot stoves require 15 for a full setup, or 6 megawatts per hot air stove. Air intakes, they vary, but it seems they get up to 33. That's the only thing actually, those are the ones that require the high voltage. And as you can see, it will really vary the system. Make sure your low voltage grid is ready for the demand too. It's not going to require a lot, but you get some of that stuff that needs to run, like all the loaders and such. That can, actually it's not that much, but at 16 of these, and then yeah, so just be ready for the stuff. And hopefully that actually answers at least most basic questions. That'll get you a system running. It shows you how to build it, controls for building the thing, some of the math needed behind setting it up. And this is the maximum flow. This is what you need on the maximum side. So anyways, so I'm Arcades. I stream on Twitch as Arcades Test, and I do here. If you like what you saw, enjoy this, let me know, comments, all that, do what I can to answer. Yeah, so like, subscribe, comment, all that. This is Arcades, signing out. I hope this helped you a lot. Have yourself a good day.